Greetings, dear ones. I am Cryon of Magnetic Service. You know there's a new energy here, don't you? And in that new energy, we are getting some interesting questions from many. Here, perhaps, is one of the most telling questions about this energy. Someone is saying, I'm beginning to question who I am and my beliefs. How can I then rebuild my image, my persona, with clarity? That particular kind of question, dear ones, wasn't asked a few years ago. You are starting to move into what I have described before as a dimensional shift. This dimensional shift is an actual change of reality for many of you watching this, the light workers, the old souls. And in that shift of reality, you start to question a great deal of things. The shift of reality is a benevolent one, dear ones. It's a good one. You're working now with an energy that you have not seen on the planet before. What that means then is that it is a more benevolent energy than you've had or ever seen or ever worked with. Imagine an energy that will support you instead of push back. So in that, there is a lot of relearning. If any of you watched the green mist that was presented earlier this month, this was actually discussed because one of the entities that came up to meet you had to do with relearning everything. A learning master, you might say. So why would you have to relearn anything when things get better? That's a good question. And to the one then who asked that question, I'm beginning to question myself, what I believe and all of that, and then goes on to say, how can I rebuild it? That's very telling. So let's discuss all of that, dear ones. What happens to you when you come from an other world kind of reality, a reality that was filled with the old energy that has been on this planet for hundreds of years? And suddenly things start to change in your reality itself and things lighten up. Does that mean that automatically you would then sense it and lighten up? Or would you then carry around everything you had from the old energy from dozens of years of living in it? The answer is you don't change. You're still defensive. You still expect the old energy to slap you back. You do all of the things like you used to do, even though the energy may be shifting and changing around you. That's the truth. Even the most compassionate of you and loving of you are slow to realize that an energy is starting to shape up around you which truly is different. And it is. You're well into 2026, dear ones, and some of you should be feeling what we said to you earlier, less anxiety. Some of you are also taking to heart that which we've channeled before that said, laugh more. If you have more joy, it starts to activate this new energy for you. You're coming out of the shift, if you hadn't heard it before. This is the 5-year ramp up to 2030, which is a total then release from the shift. This is the first of 5 years. You're starting to come out of the shift. The old energy is not near as prevalent, with many light workers and old souls who are waking up to this new dimensionality. Some have continued to ask, even though I've explained it, why would there be a new dimensionality again? Why? And the answer is this, that higher consciousness is energy. Consciousness itself is energy. But if you have one that is vibrating higher, you are creating an energy that this planet has not seen before. And suddenly that energy then mixes in with the physics of the reality that you walk around in, and you are starting to be in another dimension. Dimensions are measured by the things that you see and feel in that reality you are in. Height, width, depth, breadth, time, and then there's more. You start to have a higher consciousness, and you start to be able to read the field, have better intuition. All of these kinds of things start to be added to the list of dimensions you're in, because that's how dimensions are defined, by the things that you realize and can do and sense. In this, dear ones, comes the realization, perhaps, that the old you needs to be revamped. And many will say, well, what's wrong with the old me? And the answer is there's nothing wrong with it. It's just picture it as a glass half full. There's more you can pour in the glass if you choose. And in that, you enhance your life. But so many are still looking at the new energy in a much different way. I have told you before that coming into this new energy is like having the wind at your back. Suddenly, the wind is at your back. But there are so many who don't know how to raise the sail. You really don't feel it yet. Invitation of this channel. Feel this energy and know you're different. Perhaps feel that the glass might be half full of your life, of your awareness, of everything you thought you knew. And now suddenly in this new energy, it amplifies the very idea of what you think you know. What if when you start committing to this new energy, things start coming to you like almost a new awakening? Like, oh, I didn't know that. I can do that. Are you prepared for an intuition that is enhanced? Or will you think it's not there and pass it by? Even if it presents itself, you won't see it if you're not ready for it. I encourage any old soul who understands what I'm talking about right now to commit to this new energy and say the affirmations that need to be said to show that which is your consciousness, your body, your innate, all these things, that you are aware that you are in something that is very special. You are in 2026. We're going to continue talking about this in many channels and into the circle of 12. This is the way it works when these things happen, which are really game changers for the planet. I look at so many of you who are still perhaps uncertain of what I'm saying. I'd love to summarize it yet again. All of you, listen, you're going to have to learn how to walk in a lighter energy because you've never seen it. You won't know how. If you carry the baggage from the old energy into the new energy, then all you're doing is carrying baggage like you did before. And the new energy will not touch you because you're not accepting it. Perhaps the new energy looks at you and say, are those bags you're carrying? Well, tell me when they're gone and I'll be back. It's like that. There is a commitment, you might say, to simply acknowledging that things might be better than they were for you personally. You know, others are saying, well, we're well into 2026, but look at the world. It's still as chaotic as it always was. And you're telling us there's a new energy here. Yes, I am, because it's for you, light worker and old soul. That's different than anyone ever told you. The linearity of how you think as a human has you believe that dimensionality is global. Here comes a change in dimension, and everybody is going to feel it. No, they're not, because dimensionality is actually defined as your reality. And a higher consciousness changes your reality. So you are the ones who will feel it and know it. And the others who are not perhaps as tuned in to compassion or kindness or haven't had the advantage of some of the things you have won't feel it. So what's the next step? Show everyone what it looks like. That's where it's going anywhere, anyway, and everywhere, dear ones. The result of all these things that are happening right now, moving through the shift, is the beginning of an ascended planet. What would an ascended planet look like? It's not a planet where everybody has an angel costume on and floating around and singing songs. These are children's stories you've been told about what this might be. An ascended planet, I'll give you a couple of hints. Where the decisions are made by talking to the mothers in every country of what they want, instead of the leaders of the countries of what they want. Because the mothers were all giving you the same thing. They want a good life for their children. They don't want to be hungry. They want a place to sleep. They want to have friends. They don't want to be lied to. They want to have honesty. The list goes on. But look at the list. That is an attribute of ascension, where compassion is king, not policy, not doctrine. Kindness and love and compassion win out. Even to the fact that if you have elections, you'll be looking at the candidates and judging them not by the doctrines or the policies, but by their compassion factor. You are on your way to this kind of thing in a few generations from now. It has to start somewhere. Let's let it start today. Let's let it start now. That's what this channel is all about. Dear ones, learn what it is like to have benevolence around you instead of strife. I am Cryon, in love with humanity. And so it is.